Coach Smart from ABC Baseball Camps. I'm here to do your video eval. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to watch you take a couple swings first. Okay. So the first thing we look at when we do these evaluations is to check your setup. Kind of how you get set up ready, ready to hit, kind of, so to speak. And right away we notice that your stance, okay, is open. Okay? Instead of being parallel, where your feet are parallel with each other. And the reason that's important is because when you start with an open stance like that, if you don't get it closed or back to neutral when you swing, let's watch where your front foot goes. Okay, see how your front foot is still open. So when that part of your body's open, young man, so is that front hip. Okay, when your front hip like that flies open, you're going to have a tendency to want to pull off the baseball. Instead of go down and swing through the ball, we kind of pull off the ball when our stance is open. Okay, so we got to make sure that that front foot, when you're set up and when you take your stride, which you just did now, that your foot comes down and looks just like your back foot does right now. Your front foot right now should be pointing just like your back foot. And your front foot is like this. Okay? And because of how that front foot is in that position right there, bud, is that when you start your swing and you drive this back knee, you drive this knee where it's supposed to go, which is down. Okay? Your back knee is, when it pushes this way like it's supposed to, it's not pushing against anything because your front foot is open and not closed. Okay? In order for us to create energy and create power, we have to create resistance between our back side and our front side. And you're not creating any resistance there because your front foot is open. Okay, so the first thing I do from a setup standpoint is when you're getting ready to face a pitcher is to get your feet parallel. Okay? If you want to start open like you did, that's fine. A lot of guys do that. But when they take their stride, they take this step like you are going to right there, they don't step this way. They step back to parallel. Okay? When you let that front foot and that front hip open up like that, it just causes so many problems, young man. It's just, it puts you kind of behind the 8 ball before you start. That's the first thing you got to take care of and get fixed. Okay? Is we got to step straight. We got to start straight. The thing you want to do is have a simple approach to hitting. Having your foot open and then trying to get it back to where it's supposed to go, that's kind of complicated for young hitters. We would just soon, if I was your hitting coach or I was your baseball coach, I'd have you start in a more neutral position so you don't have to worry about trying to get back to where you're supposed to be. You can just start there and end there. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff here. Let's watch your swing path from the time you start your swing to the point of contact. Okay, so now we're at the point of contact. Okay, this is a critical position to check some things out. So we already talked about your front foot and front hip being open, which is something we got to fix. Okay. The second thing is that your chest, okay, right now at contact should be facing this way, kind of where the second baseman would be playing right now. But your chest and your belly button, your belt buckle, are facing the pitcher. That means that this front shoulder is already opened also. Okay? Where you should be at contact is right there. You should be hitting the ball right now as far as how your body is lined up. Okay, it's almost impossible, bud, for your bat to go through the strike zone this way, okay, like it's supposed to, right back towards the pitcher, right back towards center field, because of how your front shoulder is. Okay, you're going to have a tendency to pull off the baseball. You're going to have a tendency to hit a lot of balls towards shortstop and third base. And our goal as a hitter is to hit the ball up the middle, head high line drives through the middle of the diamond. Okay, so in order to do that, we got to get that front shoulder in a better place from a standpoint of being square to home plate. If you can get to this position of contact, then you got a chance to hit all the pitches. Right now, you're going to be limited to certain areas of the plate, inside or right down the middle. But if any pitcher throws a ball in the outer half of the plate, which I can't see because of how the video is shot, you're going to have a hard time hitting that outside pitch. Okay, because your bat's going to be, you're going to cut off your swing because of where your shoulders and arms are going. When I go out to scout players for college and professional baseball, I'm looking for guys that can swing the bat with their hands. Guys that can create bat speed with their hands and their lower half, not with your big muscles. Okay? Your big muscles, we don't want to include big muscles. Your big muscles you want to use for hitting, bud, are right here. In your leg, your butt, and your core muscles. That's the big muscles to use. The key muscles are going to be your hands. How fast can you move that barrel with your hands while staying square to home plate? Okay? So, there's some good things here, though. I like this. This is where you're supposed to be. It's from that aspect. Supposed to have your L there. That's good. Your left arm is straight. That's good. Your head seems to be in a pretty good position there from a head slot position. One thing I don't like is this toe. You being up on your toe. Okay? It'd be much better for you to be just be down on that a little bit, be on the ball of your foot, okay? Because you can drive. The whole key to hitting, young man, and hitting for power, hitting the ball harder and farther, like we all want to do, is for you, how hard can you push this knee down to the inside of a closed, firm front side. Okay? How hard can you push that knee down towards the inside of your front foot, which should be closed or parallel to your back foot? Okay, that's the key for generating power and energy. So we got to do a better job with that lower half. Get off that toe, okay, so we can drive that baseball. Let's watch your finish. Okay, nice high finish. No problems there at all, but that's a good finish. I wouldn't change that a bit. But one thing I would change is that you gotta get rid of this. The biggest concern I have with you right now would be that front end. We gotta get this back to parallel. Okay? I prefer to have your bat a little bit more, instead of being like this, to be more like this. Okay? And have the bat kind of intersect your head. Okay? Kind of the rule of thumb is have your hands about the ear hole of your helmet, which you don't have on. But if you had a helmet on, we want about where your ear hole is, so these hands maybe a little bit higher. From a swing plane standpoint, okay, not too bad. You don't get flat too soon. I think you use your upper body too much to swing, but just from a swing plane point of view, it's pretty good. You're pretty level through the strike zone, which is good. Okay. Let's watch one more thing here, okay? So once your foot hits the ground, right there, okay, your foot's on the ground. Okay, now we shouldn't be moving forward at all. Okay, if I put a line right here, you shouldn't go past that line with your body at all. Now it's a matter of delivering the barrel to the baseball. You can see how much you're drifting forward. Okay? And that drifting forward is will get you in trouble. Okay, I see you're fouling off a soft toss pitch here. That has a lot to do with all the movement. You got a lot of things going on there, bud, as far as how much you're moving your body. And think about it. You have a guy throwing 80 miles an hour to you in high school, okay, and the ball's coming towards home plate, and you have your body moving towards that object. That's tough, boy. You want to get that head and that your body still as that ball's coming forward. We want to take our stride and get our foot in the ground, and then from there, we're not going to move forward at all. We're just going to swing that bat, move those hands, drive that back knee to the inside of that front foot, and keep that head still. Okay, we'll draw a little circle over your head here. We don't want you leaving that circle from this point forward, and you come almost, well, actually all the way out of that circle. Okay, and that's going to be difficult when you start facing real pitching, velocity, high school pitching, 80, 85, 90 miles an hour. That's going to be more difficult for you to handle because of how much movement you had in your head. I'm going to give you a drill to do, okay? I want you to take a block of wood or a brick or something, and I want you to, when you take your stride, let's back this up a little bit, or actually what we do here at my facility is that we built something called a wedge. Okay, I'll try to draw it for you. It's a piece of plywood attached to a couple 2x6s, okay, at an angle. Okay, then a little piece of wood comes down here, and it builds. We built something like building a little ramp. It's something maybe your dad can do for you. Okay, and then when our athletes step forward, they step onto the ramp. That tells their body, sends their body a signal that they're done moving forward. They step on the ramp, or we call it the wedge, and then that's it. They're not going to move forward at all anymore. They're just going to swing the bat. And that might help you a little bit too. So I hope these tips helped you. Apologize for how long this took to get this eval to you, but if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'll be glad to help you at ebaseball123@gmail.com. Okay? Okay, bud. Look forward to seeing you at another ABC baseball camp. Thank you.